Oh, speaking of a player, we just had our next guest coming in. We'll come back to the wrist. Ben Crane, thank you for joining us. Let me put my headphones in so I can actually hear you, buddy. Hold on a second. And can you hear me?
I can.
Dude, look at the shirt you got. Like styling.
Representing.
Well, guys, I want to introduce, this is Ben Crane. This is let's say, not only one of the best players, one of my best friends, and I would say has been through everything TPI. You could be the TPI ambassador. He's six-time winner on the...
If Dave and Greg go down, guys, I got you.
That's right. That's it. You're taking over.
He's also got a hell of a haircut, by the way.
Dave likes your haircut because you're just like him. Okay, so Ben, thanks.
Head, he put hair on the rest, Dave. You know that.
All right, so Ben, this is perfect timing because we are now talking about some of our exercises. So we've showed everybody our screens. We showed them the swing characteristics. We're talking about exercises that we love. You are one of those people who, unfortunately, has had to struggle with lower back problems most of your career. Now, again, you've won 8 times professionally on there, so you've had a lot of success, but you've had to work your butt off because your body has been an issue. And it continues to be something that you have to work your butt off. One of the things...
It's been a grind. I'm not blessed with the best genetics. If you see my parents, as Greg has, you're like, you're actually doing pretty well. So I've not been...
Well, your putting genetics are pretty good.
My putting genetics are very good. So yeah. That's my moneymaker.
That's your moneymaker. So Ben has had back problems. And with most players who've had back problems, for a long time, they thought they had back problems. But like Ben, they realized that they probably had a hip problem that was causing back problems. So you think about our mobile stable model. When you lose hip mobility, you try and use the lower back more, and next thing you know, the lower back goes out. So Ben, I know you have worked on hip range of motion your entire career. And what I wanted to do, if you don't mind, and I see you're there in your studio, we're at the last exercise correction, which is how do I get more of my lower body to go independent of my upper body? And that comes down to hip mobility a lot. Could you show me your, like maybe 2 or 3 of, these are the magic moves that have kept my hips going?
Yeah, so again, I'm not blessed with, when I met Greg, I could not even half kneel. So that's to talk about.
Just so you know, he literally could not half kneel because his quadricep felt like it was going to tear on the down knee.
I'm like, I can't stand up. Greg's like, go ahead and stand up. I'm like, I can't. Because my quad was so tight, obviously limiting my hip. Every time
the fascia there, yeah.
Every time you swing left and you're trying to extend that, all the pain goes right into your back. Obviously, it's trying to grab the motion from somewhere. So yes, hips for me are like, if I keep my hips going, then my low back can kind of take a break. So one of the things I like to do that I do every day here in my studio is just is after I get my body going, is just do some rolling this way, just to kind of warm up my hips.
And notice what he's doing there. He's internally rotating one side, externally rotating the other side, and really starting to evaluate what the hips feel like, left versus right, so you can get a good comparison.
So, and when I'm doing this, the best thing to do is to really externally rotate that one, finish that, and then bring this over for internal, and then come up and sit on it. So the goal is that once you do it, you want to get up to be able to get up on the hip. When I first started, I couldn't even get into this.
Notice that position right there. Notice if you're at home, try and get down there. Get down in that 90-90 position, and notice what Ben's doing. He's taking both hands off the ground. When we first started, Ben, you couldn't take both hands off, right?
Not even close. I'd be over here and just fall over. So this is actually a huge improvement. And the goal is to take, for me, is to take this left hip, to push that knee out, create some space, and then push this left hip down.
He's trying to distract that left hip. You're trying to open up that joint or like decompress that left hip. So if you just sit tall, it's not the same as he's trying to take his left knee and dislocate his hip and push it away. Yep.
It's all about getting, and one of the tricks you can do is to push down with this and kind of cheat that left leg out a little bit. And as I push down, I kind of cheat that out, and then I get to the place where I can sit up. And then the ultimate is when you can start turning, and this is really good for internal rotation of my hips. If I can get my belly button to start facing this direction, that's when you start to really make progress in your hips. So
yeah. That's way better, buddy. That's looking good.
And then you get to that place where you externally rotate here, bring this one over, and then sit up on it is the best way for me to kind of get my hips going right before I'm going to play.
Now, give me some volume, Ben. Like, how long do you do those for? How long do you hip roll back and forth? How long do you hold? And how many times a week?
I mean, I do this every day. I mean, it's my job to internally rotate on my hips. So I do this every day. I do it to where I'm making sure I get a little uncomfortable in my hip because I want to grow. I want to get better in my hips. So I feel not quite pain, but I get kind of close to it. One of the ways I kind of train my hips is when I get into this position here, when I'm working on like my right hip is a more difficult hip for me. I've got some FAI in there and impingement issues. And so I try to push my knee away as I sink my hip down in. And then I'm really trying to get my knee down as much as I can while I'm keeping my hip on the ground. So
these look like simple movements, but to do them correctly is very difficult.
If I bring my hip up, that means nothing.
It's not doing anything.
I really haven't done anything.
Right.
So it's all about keeping the hip down. And when I'm distracting again, I'm anchoring my hip into the ground, pushing my knee away. Now I've created that opening of the capsule. Now I can actually do my work. So I've anchored this leg here, internally rotated, push this knee away, push this hip down in, and then I just work over and I kind of get to a block where I go, I'm stuck there, I'm up against something. And then so I go through my progression again, push the hip down, distract the knee away. Okay, I can get a little more. And I just kind of do this tug of war for a while until I can go, it's like
freaking awesome. Love it. I love it. Ben, you are the man. Thanks for sharing a couple of those exercises. Thanks so much for joining us, buddy. Really appreciate it.
Love, boys.